Good afternoon, everyone. I am Camille Pastoral. So our topic that are we going to discuss today is all about error correction. So quick introduction lang po. Error correction is the correction of an error in financial statements that were previously issued. It can be an error in the measurement, recognition, presentation or disclosure in the financial statements. And these errors are caused by mathematical mistakes, mistakes in applying the generally accepted accounting principles, or oversight of details existing when the financial statements were prepared. And these mistakes can include misclassification of an expense, not depreciating an asset, or miscounting inventory. So, as we discussed the problems, which are basic problems under this, malalaman natin yung mga error at kung paano sila na-correct o naayos, and malalaman natin yung mga rules and classifications under that situation. So, we have 12 problems under this topic. So, sa problem 41-1, ang hinahanap is corrected income before tax at siya po ay unique problem. Sa 41-2 po hanggang 41-4, sila po ay repetitive at sa 41-1 po at 41-3, ang hinahanap is the effect of the errors and cost of goods sold. Sa 41-4 naman po, ang hinahanap is the pre-tax effects on retained earnings. At yung 41-5 naman po ay unique problem. Ang hinahanap ay yung retained earnings be retroactively adjusted. Yung 41-6 po is repetitive. Ang hinahanap is the pre-tax net effect of the errors on retained earnings. So, yung 41-7 po hanggang 41-12 na problem ay unique problems. So, sa question number 1 po, under ng 41-7, ang hinahanap is the net income, overstated or understated. Sa question number 2 naman po, ang hinahanap ay the net effect of the errors on retained earnings. Sa question number 1 po ng problem 8, ang hinahanap is the net effect of the errors on retained earnings. Sa question number 2 po, current assets na overstated or understated. Sa 41-9 na problem, ang hinahanap is the included in the journal entry to correct the error. Sa 41-10 naman po, ang hinahanap ay yung retained earnings. Sa 41-11 is the prior period error. At sa last problem, ang hinahanap is the amount of retained earnings before tax. So, proceed na po tayo sa mga problems. Let's have brand scenario for the first problem.
Team Company started operations at the beginning of the current year. The entity failed to recognize accruals and prepayments at the end of the reporting period. The income before tax, accruals, and prepayments at the end of the current year are income before tax, 1,400,000, prepaid insurance, 20,000, accrued wages, 25,000, rent revenue collected in advance, 30,000, and interest receivable na 50,000. So, the question is, what amount should be reported as corrected income before tax? Letter A, 1,385,000. Letter B, 1,415,000. Letter C, 1,400,000. And letter D, 1,375,000. Kung mapapansin po natin, given na ang ating income before tax na 1,400,000. So, anong gagawin natin dito? Ang gagawin natin dito is i-close natin siya by debiting the income summary na 1,400,000, then the credit is retained earnings na 1,400,000. Next account is the prepaid insurance na 20,000. Di ba po, if the assets are overstated, the income are also overstated din. Tapos kapag understated naman po ang asset, understated din po ang income. Unless na lang po if sa liability. Bali kapag overstated po ang liability, understated naman ang income natin. Tapos kapag understated ang liability, overstated naman ang income. So generally po, prepaid insurance is a current asset account that has a debit balance. So, ang magiging entry po natin dito is debit prepaid insurance na 20,000, tapos credit natin ay retained earnings na 20,000. So, ang mangyayari, i-add natin itong 20,000 mamaya sa pagkuha ng corrected income before tax. So, next na po tayo, which is accrued wages naman na 25,000. When we heard the word accrued wages, di ba napasok agad sa isip natin is yung amount ng liability remaining at the end of the reporting period na na-earn ng employees pero di pa sila nababayaran. So, anong gagawin natin dito? I-debit natin yung retained earnings na 25,000, tapos i-credit naman natin yung accrued wages na 25,000. Kakasabi ko lang po kanina na kapag overstated ang liability, understated naman ang ating income. So, ang mangyayari dito, ibabawas natin mamaya sa pagkuha ng corrected income before tax. Next is the rent revenue collected in advance na 30,000. Ibig sabihin po man din ito ay yung rent revenue natin has been collected before earned or natanggap na natin yung bayad kahit di pa tayo nagbibigay ng service natin. Kaya naman po, it will considered as an earned revenue. So, sa pag-correct natin, ang entry natin dito is debit natin yung retained earnings na 30,000, tapos credit naman natin yung unearned rent na 30,000. So, bali, ibabawas din natin ito mamaya sa pagkuha ng corrected income before tax. So, sa last naman po, yung interest receivable na 50,000. So, receivable po siya. Kagaya po ng sinabi ko kanina na kapag ang asset ay overstated din ang ating income. So, debit interest receivable na 50,000, tapos credit natin yung retained earnings na 50,000, which is i-add natin ito sa pagkuha ng corrected income before tax. So, i-compute na po natin. 1,400,000 plus the prepaid insurance na 20,000 minus natin yung accrued wages na 25,000 minus rent collected in advance na 30,000, makukuha po natin yung corrected income na 1,415,000. So, the answer po is letter B. So, my question po is for Miss Princess Anlinga. Ang tanong lang po is, anong magiging effect sa income if our liability was understated?
So, nasa problem 41-2 na po tayo. On December 31, 2021, Astor Company sold merchandise for 750,000 to Day Company. The terms of the sale were net 30 FOB shipping point. The merchandise was shipped on December 31, 2021 and arrived at Day on January 5, 2022. Due to clerical error, the sale was not recorded until January 2022 and the merchandise sold at a 25% markup on cost was included in inventory on December 31, 2021. What was the effect of the errors on cost of goods sold for 2021? A. Understated by 750,000. B. Understated by 600,000. C. Understated by 150,000. Or D. Correctly stated. So, in problem 41-2, si Astor Company daw po ay nagbenta ng merchandise for 750,000 kay Day Company. So, ang terms of sale nila is net 30, meaning the full payment is due in 30 days and FOB shipping point. So, if a shipment is designated FOB, the seller's location, then as soon as the shipment of goods leaves the seller warehouse, the seller records the sale as complete. Pero ang sabi po sa ating problem, hindi po na-record ang sale until January 2022 due to clerical error. So, yung clerical error po ay, these errors are committed in the process of recording financial transactions. And then, nagkaroon pa ng 25% markup yung binentang merchandise na in-include sa inventory noong December 31, 2021. So, ano yung magiging effect nung error na yon sa cost of goods sold noong 2021? hindi siya na-record and nagkaroon pa ng markup. So, because of the interrelationship between inventory values and cost of goods sold, yung value ng cost of goods available for sale ay nakadepende sa tamang amount ng beginning and ending inventory. So, kapag mali yung amount ng inventory, then the associated income statement and balance sheet accounts are also incorrect. So, kung nakikinig ka po dito, Miss Sailin M. Hasmin, ang tanong ko po sa iyo dito sa ating problem 41-2 ay ano yung magiging effect ng overstatements ng ending inventory sa ating cost of goods sold? And kapag naman understated siya, ano rin yung magiging effect niya sa cost of goods sold natin? So, yun lang. Paki-comment na lang po ng ating sagot sa ating comment section. Thank you! So, balik po tayo sa ating problem. So, dito po sa ating problem, overstated po ang ating ending balance ng inventory. And so, magiging understated ang cost of goods sold for 2021. Now, paano naman natin malalaman yung amount ng understated cost of goods sold? Ang gagawin mo natin is, yung amount po ng binentang merchandise ay i-divide po natin sa 125%. Bakit po 125%? Inad po natin yung markup na 25% sa 100%. So, 750,000 divided by 125% is equals to 600,000. Therefore, the cost of goods sold for 2021 was understated by 600,000. So, the answer for problem 41-2 is letter B.
Here in problem 41-3, given is that brand company's beginning inventory on January 1 was understated by 200,000 and the ending inventory was overstated by 600,000. So, the question is, what was the effect of the errors on the cost of goods sold for the current year? So, first choice natin is 400,000. Second choice, understated, yung unang choice. Then B, 400,000 overstated. C, 800,000 understated. D, 800,000 overstated. So, proceed na tayo sa solution. Bale, ang hinahanap natin dito is yung effect ng error on the record of inventory sa ating cost of goods sold. Remember na kapag sinabi nating understated ang isang account, ibig sabihin kulang ang amount ng pagkaka-record compare sa actual na amount na dapat ng isang account. Kapag sinabi naman natin na overstated ang isang account, is sobra ang amount na dapat sa pagkaka-record. Then, another thing to remember is that kapag ang beginning inventory sa cost of goods sold is understated, then meaning ang ating cost of goods sold ay understated din. So, kabaliktaran naman ito ng ending inventory. Kapag ang ating ending inventory ay understated, ang ating cost of goods sold ay overstated naman. So, again, ulitin ko, kapag ang beginning inventory ay understated, ang cost of goods sold ay understated din. And kapag ang ending inventory ay understated, ang ating cost of goods sold ay overstated. Then kapag ang beginning inventory ay overstated din ang ating cost of goods sold. Kapag naman pinaliktad natin, kapag ending inventory naman ang overstated, ang ating cost of goods sold ay understated naman. So, proceed tayo since ang sabi dito is understated ang January 1 or the beginning inventory, ibig sabihin ng ating cost of goods sold ay understated. So, Miss Hannah Paragas, kapag understated ang beginning inventory, anong effect nito sa ating cost of goods sold? Pakidrop na lang po ng answer nyo sa comment section. So, proceed tayo. So, 200,000 understated on January 1 ay magdudulot din ng understatement ng cost of goods sold. Then, nasabi dito na mayroon namang overstated na ending inventory amounting to 600,000 si brand company. So, meaning, anong effect nito sa cost of goods sold? Understated din ang ating cost of goods sold. Kung parehas ng effect ang understated beginning inventory at overstated na ending inventory, ibig sabihin need lang natin pagsamahin ng amount para makuha natin ang understatement effect na dulot ng mga error sa ating cost of goods sold. So, 200,000 plus
600,000, mag-a-arrive tayo sa cost of goods sold na 800,000 understated. So, ang sagot natin is letter C.
So, nandito na po tayo sa problem 41-4. During 2022, Paul Company discovered that the ending inventories reported on the financial statements were incorrect by the following amounts. 2020, 60,000 understated. 2021, 75,000 overstated. The entity used the periodic inventory system to ascertain year-end quantities that are converted to peso amount using FIFO. Prior to any adjustment for these errors, what was the pre-tax effect on retained earnings on January 1, 2022? A. Correct. B. 135,000 overstated. C. 75,000 overstated. And letter D. 15,000 overstated. So this problem is an example of counterbalancing error. So, pag sinabi po natin counterbalancing errors, these are errors which, if not detected, are automatically counterbalanced or corrected in the next accounting period. In other words, counterbalancing errors will be offset or corrected over 2 periods or correct themselves over 2 periods. So, itong counterbalancing errors po na ito ay classification when it comes to errors na pares po naaapektuhan yung statement of financial position at income statement. So, ang example po nito, itong nakikita natin sa problem na misstatement of inventories. So, nandito na po tayo sa solution for problem 41-4. Lagi lang po nating tatandaan na kapag ang ending inventory ay overstated, yung ating cost of goods sold will be understated. And the gross profit and net income naman po natin ay magiging overstated. So, since counterbalance po ito, ibig sabihin, yung ating inventory next year will be understated. And on the other hand naman po, kapag ang ating ending inventory is understated, yung ating cost of goods sold is overstated. And the gross profit and net income will be understated. And sa counterbalance naman po, yung next year na inventory will be overstated. So, proceed na po tayo sa solution. Kung nakikita po natin, yung sa una is, di ba sinabi sa problem na nung 2020 daw ay understated ng 60,000. So, kapag sinabi nating understated, kulang. Kaya ang ginawa natin, dinagdag natin yung 60,000 sa 2020. And since this is a counterbalancing error, makokorek natin yung ating net income sa 2021. So, bakit po nandun yung 60,000 na sa 2021? It is because yung ending inventory natin sa 2020 will be the beginning inventory for 2021. So, kagaya nga na sinabi ko kanina, kapag yung ending inventory natin is understated, yung ating next year na inventory will be overstated. Kaya naka-less yung 60,000 dahil overstated na siya for that year. Then, yung sabi sa problem din, for 2021, overstated naman daw ng 75,000. Kaya, ating i-deduct dahil sobra daw nga ng 75,000. So, in order to get the net correction to income, pagsamahin po natin yung 60,000 and 75,000, magkakaroon tayo ng 135,000 net correction to income noong 2021 and noong 2020 naman po is 60,000. Then, ang hinahanap sa problem is the net correction to retained earnings. Diba po, yung ating kasama sa formula natin for retained earnings is the net income. So, we will add the net correction to 2020 net income na 60,000 plus net correction to 2021 net income na overstatement of 135,000. So, ang maging net correction to retained earnings natin ay magiging 75,000. So, yun po yung mga notes na nakalagay dyan. Miss Irish Valenzuela po, please comment kung ano nga po pala ulit yung ating counterbalancing error. So, please comment your answer po sa ating comment section
Miss Irish Valenzuela. Thank you po.
So, nasa problem 41-5 na po tayo and ang ating problem is Victoria Company revealed the following. Ending inventory ng 2020 is understated ng 200. And yung depreciation naman po is 50,000 understated. Sa year 2021 naman po, ending inventory is 300,000 overstated. And yung depreciation po ay overstated na 100,000. So the question is, at what amount should retained earnings be retroactively adjusted on January 1, 2020? A. 250,000 increase. B. 250,000 decrease. C. 400,000 increase. And D. 400 decrease. So ayan, hahanapin natin ay retained earnings. Kung titingnan mabuti, halos given na mismo ang kailangan natin, the ending inventory at depreciation. Pero bago yan, alamin muna natin yung sa income. Focus muna tayo sa 2020. Sa ending inventory, merong 200,000 understated at 50,000 understated depreciation. I-less lang natin ang depreciation sa 200,000. So, ang income natin for 2020 ay 150,000. For year 2021, yung 200 noong 2020 ay magiging kabawasan sa 2021 kasi understated na siya for 2020. According to Victoria Company, the ending inventory ay overstated naman kaya ileless natin siya for 2021. But when it comes to depreciation na overstated, a-add natin siya. Sa depreciation, sa computation ng income, kapag understate, deduct natin siya. At kapag overstated, a-add natin siya. Kaya ga-come up tayo na ang income for 2021 ay 400,000. Take note that overstatements of ending inventory result in understated cost of goods sold, overstated net income, overstated assets, and overstated equity. So ayan, malapit na tayo sa katotohanan, no? Para mahanap natin ang retained earnings sa beginning, add natin yung sa 2020 at 2021. Since ang 2021 ay negative na, ileless natin siya kaya 150,000 minus 400,000 is equals to 250,000. So negative po siya. So ang net correction to retained earnings natin ay nag-decrease ng 250,000. Let us note that if the 2020 ending inventory was understated, net income for 2020 would be understated with a consequent overstatement of 2021 net income. If the 2021 ending inventory was overstated, net income for 2021 would be overstated with a consequent understatement of 2022 net income. Depreciation is not a counterbalancing error. So, Miss Alexis Soberano, shout out po sa'yo. Balik lang po tayo sa ating solution. So, bakit nga po ba natin inad yung depreciation overstated ng 2021? Paki-comment na lang po ng ating sagot sa comment section. Thank you!
So let's have 41-6. Glory Company reported the following errors in the financial statements. And we have ending inventory noong 2020 na understated amounting to 200,000 and then 300,000 na overstated noong 2021. Then we have depreciation na 50,000 na understated noong year 2020. So sabi, an insurance premium of 150,000 was prepaid in 2020 to cover 2020, 2021, and 2022. The entire amount was charged to expense in 2020. On December 31, 2021, fully depreciated machinery was sold for 250,000 cash, but the sale was not recorded until 2022. There were no other errors during 2020 and 2021, and no corrections have been made for any of the errors. So, the question is, what amount should be reported as pre-tax net effect of the errors on retained earnings on December 31, 2021? So, meron tayong choices na 300,000 overstated, 250,000 na understated, 50,000 overstated, and 50,000 na understated. So, let's proceed po sa solution. So, meron tayong ending inventory na understated noong 2020. A-add siya kasi kapag ang ending inventory ay understated din ang net income. Then, understated na depreciation noong 2020 na 50,000. Alas siya kasi kapag ang depreciation ay understated, magkukos ito ng overstated na retained earnings. Then, we have prepaid insurance na 150,000 noong December 31. So, bakit siya inad sa year 2020? Kasi na-expense daw yung 150,000 noong 2020. Sabi sa problem, it was prepaid to cover 2020, 2021, and 2022. Kaya ga-add back tayo ng 100,000. So 200,000 minus 50,000 plus 100,000, we will get net correction to income amounting to 250,000. So doon naman po tayo sa 2021. So, meron tayong ending inventory na understated noong 2020 na 200,000. So, automatic po na it would be the beginning inventory ng year 2021, which is understated pa din. At kapag ang beginning inventory ay understated, the net income would be overstated. Kaya natin alas yung 200,000 sa 2021. And also, we have 300,000 ending inventory na overstated noong 2021. So, ano yung result kapag ang ending inventory ay overstated? So, sabi kapag ang ending inventory ay overstated, the net income would be overstated. Kaya alas din natin siya. And then we have prepaid insurance noong December 31 na 150,000. So, sabi ko nga kanina, it covers the year 2020, 2021, at 2022. So, 150,000 over 3, we will have 50,000 na charge. Then, meron daw fully depreciated machinery na nabenta noong 2021, amounting to 250,000. And it was not recorded until 2022, kaya a-add natin siya sa 2021 as unrecorded gain on sale of machinery. So, we will have a net correction to income na 300,000. Accordingly, the pre-tax net effect is of overstatement of retained earnings amounting to 50,000. So, Ma'am Shi IB, bakit nga po natin niless yung ending inventory na overstated? At bakit naman po natin ina-add yung ending inventory na understated?
So, we are now on problem 41-7. Sabi dito, Crescendo Company reported the following errors. Ending inventory for 2020, 150,000 overstated. For 2021, 200,000 understated. Rent expense, 50,000 understated. At 100,000 overstated naman sa 2021. For question number 1, if none of the errors were detected or corrected, by what amount would 2021 net income be overstated or understated? A. 200,000 overstated. B. 200,000 understated. C. 450,000 overstated. Or D. 450,000 understated. So, hinahanap kung wala daw errors na na-detect or na-correct, magkano daw ba yung amount ng net income na magiging overstated or understated kay Crescendo Company. For our solution, ending inventory for 2021 was deducted dahil ito ay overstated, so magiging overstated din ang ating income, kaya need siya na i-less. Dahil overstated inventory will result din sa pag-overstate ng income, and to counterbalance naman, i-add natin yung 150,000 for 2021. And since understated yung ating 2021 ending inventory, mag-add naman tayo ng 200,000 for 2021 dahil nga kulang siya. At magiging kulang din yung ating income if hindi in-adjust. For our rent expense naman, 2020 is understated ng 50,000. So need siyang i-deduct sa ating income dahil magiging overstated ito. While sa 2021 naman, ang overstated, we need it na i-add sa ating income dahil magiging understated ito. So for 2021 net correction for income, we have 150,000 plus 200,000 at 100,000 na rent expense. Our total ay 450,000 letter D. So, Shoutout po kay Miss Acabo. If you can recall po, what will happen sa sa income if asset is overstated? You can put your answer in the comment section.
Question number 2. What amount should be reported as net effect of the errors on retained earnings on December 31, 2021? Letter A, 250,000 overstated. Letter B, 250,000 understated. Letter C, 450,000 understated. And letter D, 450,000 overstated. So, sa pagkuha po natin ng sagot dito sa question number 2, dun lang po tayo mag-base sa sagot ni Miss Kayla sa question number 1. Kasi nakuha na po niya dun yung net correction to net income na 200,000 understated noong 2020, tapos overstated naman ng 450 noong 2021. So, bali po, net effect of errors on retained earnings ang inahanap dito. Sa pag-compute po natin ito, kuhain lang po natin yung combined amount ng corrections to net income ng 2021 and 2020. So, bali po, 450,000 minus 200,000 is equals to 250,000. So, the answer po is letter B po.
Nasa problem 41-8 na po tayo. And the problem natin is Saturn Company reported the following errors. Noong 2020, ending inventory was understated 50,000. Depreciation expense is overstated ng 150,000. And noong 2021, overstated ang ending inventory na 100,000. And depreciation expense is overstated ng 200,000. None of the errors were detected or corrected, and that no additional errors were made in 2022. So for question 1, what amount should be reported as net effect of the errors on retained earnings on December 31, 2018? In question 1, ang hinahanap natin is the amount of net effect on retained earnings, kung overstated ba siya or understated siya. Kung mapapansin natin dito sa problem, ang ending inventory and depreciation lang yung error ng Saturn Company. First, bago natin malaman yung net effect on retained earnings, kailangan muna magkaroon ng net correction to net income. So, focus muna tayo sa year 2020. Understated ang ending inventory ng 50,000 and overstated naman ng 150,000 yung depreciation. I-add lang natin siya, so 50,000 plus 150,000 is equals to 200,000. So, ang correct income po natin for 2020 ay 200,000. Sa depreciation, sa computation ng income, kapag understated, deduct natin siya. At kapag overstated, add natin siya. Sa year 2021 naman, yung 50,000 noong 2020 sa ending inventory ay magiging kabawasan sa 2021 kasi understated siya for 2020. When it comes sa depreciation na overstated, add natin siya. Noong year 2021, overstated na yung ending inventory na 100,000, so i-add lang natin siya sa 50,000 noong 2020. Then, i-deduct natin siya sa overstated depreciation ng 2021 na 200,000. So, the net income for the year 2021 is 50,000. So, naitama na po natin ang net income. Punta naman tayo sa net effect on retained earnings. I-add lang po natin yung net income ng 2020 at 2021 para makuha natin yung net effect on retained earnings na 250,000. So, 200,000 plus 50,000 is equals to 250,000. When cost of goods sold is overstated, inventory and net income are understated. An overstatement to ending inventory overstates net income. But next year, since ending inventory becomes the beginning inventory, it understates net income. So, the effect of net income on retained earning is an understatement of 250,000. So, ang sagot po natin sa problem 41-8 for question 1 is letter D. Understated po siya ng 250,000. So, Mr. James Brian Peregrine, kung nakikinig ka po ngayon dito, ang sagot po natin sa question 1 is the amount that should be reported as net effect of the errors on retained earning is 250,000 na understated. So, bakit siya naging understated, Mr. James Brian Peregrine? Pakilagay po ng ating sagot sa ating comment section. Thank you! So, Miss Hyvie, ikaw na po ang next.
Same problem tayo kay Miss Yvette. So, dito sa question number 2, ang hahanapin natin is kung meron bang overstatement or understatement na mag-occur in year 2022 sa current asset. So, proceed tayo. Kung mapapansin natin dito sa problem, ang ending inventory and depreciation lang ang error ng entity. Since for year 2022, ang hinahanap nating amount na understated or overstated sa current asset, focus lang tayo sa errors na nag-occur ay sa 2021. I-disregard natin ang overstated na ending inventory since ang overstatement dito is subject sa overstated ng cost of goods sold and current asset on year end of year 2022 will not be affected. It is because this error will be counterbalanced during the next period. So, i-disregard natin ang ending inventory. So, proceed tayo sa overstated depreciation. So, ano nga ba ang dinedepreciate natin? Diba mga non-current asset lang and this error does not affect current asset. So, for year end 2022, walang error na magkukos sa current asset to be understated or overstated. So, ang question ko po for Mr. James is, again, bakit po natin hindi sinama yung overstatement ng ending inventory in year 2021? Bakit nasabi natin na hindi makakaapekto yung overstatement ng inventory sa current asset on December 31, 2022?
So now we are in problem 41-9. In 2022, Cremas Company discovered that the equipment purchased on January 1, 2020 for 1 million was expensed at that time. The equipment should have been depreciated over 5 years with no residual value. The tax rate is 30%. What is included in the journal entry in 2022? Typo lang po yon to correct the error. A. Credit equipment for 1 million. B. Debit retained earnings 1 million. C. Credit retained earnings 420,000. And letter D. Credit retained earnings for 600,000. So, ito pong problem na ito is an example of non-counterbalancing error. Kapag naman po sinabi nating non-counterbalancing error, these are errors which if not detected are not automatically counterbalanced or corrected in the next accounting period. Ibig sabihin po nito, ang effect po ng non-counterbalancing error ay the income statement of the period in which the error is committed is incorrect, but the succeeding income statement is not affected. And the statement of financial position of the year of error and succeeding statement of financial position are incorrect until the error is corrected. So, the best example po ng non-counterbalancing error is ito pong sa ating problem, which is the misstatement of depreciation. So, balik na po tayo sa ating problem. Kung i-analyze po natin, dito po muna tayo sa unang paragraph. Sinabi na nung 2022 daw, na-discover, nalaman nila na yung binili pala nilang equipment nung January 1, 2020 ay in-expense pagkabili. So, ano yung journal entry natin nun? Imbis na maging debit equipment, credit cash, ang ginawa daw pala nila is in-expense agad nila. Edi debit, expense, credit, cash. So, noong 2022 lang nila nalaman yung kanilang error na yon. And the equipment should have been depreciated over 5 years with no residual value. The tax rate is 30%. So, kung i-analyze natin yung problem at saka yung choices, wala na agad yung letter A. kasi nakalagay ay credit equipment for 1 million. Ay sabi nga sa problem ay hindi nga agad na record yung equipment. Ay wala namang credit na equipment dahil in-expense siya nung pagkabili. So, eliminate na agad natin letter A. Then, yung letter B, C, and D, let's analyze that further. Pero dun muna po tayo sa magiging journal entry niya. Bale, since expense daw ang na-record noong 2020, para makorek yung error ng 2022, dapat mag-debit na sila ng equipment. Para makorek natin yung error nila, 'di ba? Tapos, since almost 2 years na yung nakalipas nung pagka-purchase, yung equipment natin is an example of non-current asset na nagde-depreciate. So, dapat i-adjust natin yung amount niya kung ilan na yung kanyang na-accumulate na depreciation. So, sa pag-compute ng ating accumulated depreciation, 1 million times 5 years times 2. Bakit po times 2? Dahil nga 2 years na yung nakalipas simula nung nabili niya yon. So, 2020, 2021, 2022. Kaya, naging times 2. So, 1 million divided by 5 times 2 is equal to 400,000. So, bago natin i-apply yung tax rate, kailangan muna nating malaman yung carrying amount ng equipment at that time. So, 1 million less 400,000, magkakaroon tayo ng 600,000 na carrying amount ng equipment. Then, doon natin i-apply na yung tax rate na 30%, which is 600,000 times 30%, magkakaroon tayo ng 180,000 income tax payable. And sa retained earnings naman natin, times natin yung natitirang sa 100%, which is 70%. So, 600,000 times 70% will be equal to 420,000. So, bakit po natin credit yung retained earnings? It is because, diba, since yung ating net income, ang magiging result kasi nitong ating error, the net income will be understated. Kaya, kailangan natin mag-credit ang retained earnings para makorek din natin yung ating net income. So, kung nagtataka po tayo, bakit walang depreciation expense? Katambal po yun ng accumulated depreciation natin kapag nag-e-entry. Kung babalik po tayo sa problem, sinabi doon na na-expense na nga nung pagkabili yung sa equipment imbis na i-debit sa equipment. So, kapag nag-depreciation expense pa tayo dito, magiging overstated na ulit yung ating magiging overstated na naman yung ating expense. Kaya wala po tayong depreciation expense dyan. So, kung yung letter B po natin is debit retained earnings, nagde-debit lang tayo ng retained earnings kapag overstated yung net income natin. Sinabi natin na understated yung ating net income, yung effect ng error. So, X na agad yung letter B. Tapos, natira na yung C at D natin. So, doon naman tayo sa value tingin. Tama ng credit retained earnings. So, kung 600,000, di ba sinabi natin na meron pang tax rate na 30%. Hindi pa nababawas sa 600,000 yung 30% nun. So, mali din siya. Kaya, ang sagot natin for problem 41-9 is credit retained earnings amounting to 420,000. And so, Mr. Ehalan po, John Christian. Review lang po natin. Ano nga po ulit yung ating non-counterbalancing error? Please comment po your answer sa ating comment section. Thank you so much po.
So, nasa problem 41-10 na po tayo. On January 1, 2021, company reported retained earnings of 4 million. In 2021, the entity determined that insurance premiums of 900,000 for the 3-year period beginning January 1, 2020 had been paid and fully expensed in 2020. The income tax rate is 30%. So what amount should be reported as corrected retained earnings on January 1, 2021? Retained earning is the endpoint of the transactions that occur every year. The errors can make the balance of retained earnings understated or even overstated. Like con company, there is an understatement at ang hinahanap natin sa problem na ito ay correct retained earnings for January 2021. From the given data, meron na nakastate na retained earnings amounting to 4 million. Pero merong insurance premium na 900,000 for the 3 years start ito noong 2020 with an income tax rate na 30%. Para makuha natin, a-add natin yung sa prepaid insurance na 600,000 and naging 600,000 siya kasi 900 times 2 over 3. Tapos, i-deduct natin yung sa tax ng prepaid insurance. Multiply natin sa 30%. So, 600 times 30% is equals to 180,000. So, 4 million plus 600 minus 180,000 is equals to 4,420,000. The correct retained earnings of con company is 4,420,000. So, the answer is letter B. So, Miss Rose Ann Historillo, shout out po sa'yo. So, ano nga ulit yung ating retained earnings base dito sa ating problem? Paki-comment po ng ating sagot sa ating comment section. Thank you! So, next na po is si Miss Camille.
So, problem 41-11. On January 1, 2021, Raft Company discovered that it had incorrectly expensed a 210,000 machine purchase on January 1, 2018. The entity estimated the machine's original useful life to be 10 years and the residual value at 10,000. The entity used the straight line method of depreciation and is subject to a 30% tax rate. In the 2021 financial statements, what amount should be reported as a prior period error? So, sa solution naman po tayo. Ang hinahanap is the reported na prior period error ng 2021. So, sabi sa problem, Raft Company discovered that it had incorrectly expensed 210,000 machine purchase noong January 1, 2018. And this machine has a useful life na 10 years at may residual value na 10,000. The entity used the straight line method of depreciation and is subject to a 30% tax rate. So, para makuha yung prior period error, akunin muna natin yung net expense at para makuha yon, alas natin yung unrecorded depreciation para sa year na 2018, 2019, at 2020 sa na-incorrect expense noong 2018 na 210,000. So, paano nakuha yung unrecorded depreciation? Una, akunin muna natin yung depreciable amount. Since merong given sa problem na residual value na 10,000, alas natin siya sa cost na 210,000. At yun yung depreciate natin, which is amounting to 200,000. Dinivide siya sa 10 kasi sabi may 10 years daw na useful life. And then times 3 kasi it is for 3 years. So 200,000 over 10 is 20,000 times 3 makakakuha tayo ng 60,000. So 210,000 minus the depreciation na 60,000, we will have a net expense na overstated amounting to 150,000. So, sabi sa problem, entity use straight line method of depreciation and subject siya sa 30%. So, ang akunin natin is the 70% ng net expense which is overstated. So, 150,000 times 70% is equal to 105,000. So, that is our prior period error. So, Ma'am Casey, dito po sa problem, paano nga po natin nakuha yung unrecorded depreciation?
For our last problem in this chapter, which is 41-12, we have the problem, and basahin muna natin ito. After the insurance of the 2021 financial statement, Terry Company discovered a computation error of 150,000 in the calculation of the December 31 to 2021 inventory. The error resulted in 150,000 overstatement in the cost of goods sold for the year ended December 31, 2021. in October 2020, the entity paid 500,000 in settlement of litigation instituted against it during 2021. In the 2022 financial statements, the December 31, 2021 retained earnings balance as previously reported should be adjusted by what amount before tax? A. 250,000 debit, B. 650,000 credit, C. 150,000 credit, and D. 500,000 debit. So, if you will analyze po yung ating problem, after daw ng insurance ng 2021 financial statement, yung Terry Company daw po ay nakadiscover ng computation error na 150,000 sa calculation ng kanilang December 31, 2021 inventory. And yung error na yon ay nagresult ng 150,000 overstatement naman sa ating cost of goods sold for the year ended December 31, 2021. And added doon na in October 2022, nagbayad daw yung entity ng 500,000 dun sa settlement of litigation instituted against it during 2021. So, ang hinahanap is magkano ba yung magiging retained earning balance natin as previously reported na kailangan ma-adjust siya by what amount before tax. So, our answer is letter C. That is 150,000 credit. Bakit? Because the overstatement of cost of goods sold of 150,000 in 2021 understated yung net income and retained earnings on December 31, 2021. So, yun lang yung naka-affect sa ating net income and retained earnings. And walang kinalaman doon yung settlement of litigation in 2020. Hindi siya nakaka-affect sa ating net income and retained earnings of 2021. So, our final answer is letter C, 150,000 credit. So, shout out naman kay Miss Rachel Ann Deyesol na maganda. And my question for you is, what will happen kaya sa ating income if liability is overstated? You can also put your answer in the comment section.
So, chapter summary na po tayo. Gaya nga po ng sinabi ko kanina, error correction is the correction of an error in financial statements that were previously issued. It can be an error in the following: measurement, recognition, presentation, disclosure in financial statements. These errors are caused by mathematical mistakes, and these mistakes can include misclassification of an expense, not depreciating an asset, or miscounting inventory. Prior period errors are omissions and misstatements in the entity's financial statements for one or more periods arising from a failure to use or misuse or reliable information. These errors shall be corrected by retrospective restatement. Retrospective statement is correcting the recognition, measurement, and disclosure of amounts of elements of financial statement as if a prior period error had never occurred. So, under prior period error, we have counterbalancing and non-counterbalancing. So, kapag sinabi natin counterbalancing, ibig sabihin, kapag merong error sa prior period na hindi na-detect ng subsequent period, ito ay kusang mag-correct kasi nga counterbalancing. Ang example nito ay misstatements of inventory, purchases cut off, and sales cut off. Kapag sinabi naman natin counterbalancing, ibig sabihin, kapag meron daw errors sa prior period na hindi na-detect, hindi siya mag-automatic mag-offset o magka-counterbalance ng sumunod na taon. So, we have a guide to memory. Kapag ang asset ay understated, income ay understated. Kapag ang asset ay overstated, ang income ay overstated. Sa liability naman ay baliktaran. Kapag ang liability ay understated, ang income ay overstated. Kapag ang liability ay overstated, ang income ay understated. So, overstatements of beginning inventory result in overstated cost of goods sold and understated net income. Conversely, understatements of beginning inventory result in understated cost of goods sold and overstated net income. Kapag naman overstated ang ending inventory, result in understated of cost of goods sold and overstated net income. Conversely, understatement of ending inventory result in overstated cost of goods sold and understated net income.